The Anthony Davis ship sailed away from Boston a very long time ago. Most fans believed they would never hear his name connected to this team again. But the professional basketball landscape shifts incredibly fast. The Celtics seemed ready to acquire him years ago, but his camp made it completely clear that he had absolutely no desire to play for the organization, forced his way to Los Angeles instead. The rest of that specific story is history, but a massive amount of time has passed since that dramatic standoff. The league is entirely different today. Davis has been traded twice since his championship run. He now finds himself playing for the Washington Wizards. He is desperately trying to figure out the final chapters of his basketball career. He has not done himself any favors over these recent seasons. He struggles constantly to stay on the basketball court. Overall trade value has diminished completely due to these lingering injuries. He never truly warmed up to the idea of playing in Washington. Pairing him with Trae Young was an interesting experiment that failed to produce results. Now, the results of the recent draft lottery have changed everything. The Wizards officially won the draft lottery. This means they get to add the absolute top pick to their roster. They will likely select a generational talent like AJ DeBansa or Darren Peterson. This incoming rookie will join an already fascinating young core. Washington has been quietly collecting talent for a while. They have promising players like Alex Sarr and Bilal Coulibaly. They also have Will Riley and Trey Johnson developing on their roster. Landing a true blue-chip prospect changes the entire trajectory of the franchise. They finally have a player they can build around for the next decade. This youth movement makes things very complicated for the older veterans. Players like Trae Young and Anthony Davis no longer fit the timeline. Davis has already expressed serious doubts about the direction of the franchise. This presents the absolute perfect opportunity for the Washington front office. They need to fully lean into this youth movement immediately. They should flip Davis right now for any future assets they can possibly get. His value is low, but his departure opens up crucial playing time for the younger players. Washington needs to clear the floor for their new franchise savior. Keeping a disgruntled veteran around is a recipe for disaster. This brings us right back to the Boston Celtics. The front office is desperately looking for ways to upgrade the front court. Davis should theoretically be available for a very reasonable asking price at this exact moment. In fact, his massive contract might actually be considered a negative asset by some executives. Boston has an incredibly obvious need for size and rim protection. Their recent playoff exit exposed some glaring weaknesses. There are massive rumors circulating about a potential Giannis Antetokounmpo trade. But if that dream scenario does not come to fruition, the front office needs a backup plan. This could be that optimal pivot for the team. But there is a massive hurdle standing in the way of this hypothetical trade. Any team hoping to acquire Davis must come very close to matching his enormous salary. He is scheduled to make over $58 million next season. That is an astronomical amount of money for a player with his injury history. Boston would not have to match every single penny of that contract, but the financial rules require them to get extremely close to that number. To reach that massive salary figure, Boston basically has two options. First option is trading away Jaylen Brown. The second option is packaging several important role players together to match the required money. That second package would likely include Derrick White and Sam Hauser and Payton Pritchard. Sending out three crucial pieces of your rotation is a massive risk. Neither of these trade options sounds ideal for the franchise. Before we dive deeper into why these trade packages are so dangerous, please take a second to like the video and subscribe. Support helps us bring you the best daily basketball analysis and news coverage. Giving up that much talent for a 33-year-old Anthony Davis is terrifying. His body is rapidly deteriorating right before our eyes. He misses dozens of games every single season with various ailments and injuries. You simply cannot trust him to stay healthy for a grueling playoff run. To make matters even worse, he has a massive player option in his contract. That option is worth almost $63 million for the following season. So you are not just trading for him now. You are committing to paying him an absolute fortune when he is 35 years old. Even if Washington does not ask for a single draft pick, those trade packages feel like a huge overpay. Trading Jaylen Brown for an aging injury-prone center would be a desperate overreaction. The team suffered an ugly playoff loss, but panic moves never work out well. Brad Stevens is usually much smarter than that. Stripping away all of your perimeter depth is equally foolish. White and Hauser and Pritchard are the engine of the second unit. You cannot sacrifice your entire bench just to add one big name to the starting lineup. There is actually one other very complicated path the front office could explore. The Celtics currently possess some valuable traded player exceptions. They could use these exceptions to absorb expiring contracts from other teams. They would bring in these expiring salaries first. Then they would package those specific contracts together and flip them to Washington for Davis. This protects their core players and satisfies the salary matching rules. This maneuver would not be easy to execute. It requires finding multiple trade partners willing to play ball. But it might be the absolute best strategy if they truly believe Davis is the missing piece of the puzzle. If the Wizards agree to accept expiring contracts and Brad Stevens can make the math work, it could be something to pursue. Getting a healthy Anthony Davis without losing your core players is a completely different story. But in the absence of that complex salary maneuver, this is a situation Boston must avoid. Getting involved in a massive trade that guts your roster is a recipe for disaster. The front office needs to be wise and patient right now. The allure of adding a star is always tempting, but true championship contenders are built on depth and reliability. Anthony Davis simply does not offer the reliability that this franchise desperately needs right now. Let us rewind to the very beginning of this saga. The connection between Boston and Davis dates back to his days in New Orleans. The front office hoarded draft picks for years specifically to trade for him. Danny Ainge was completely obsessed with bringing him to the city. He viewed Davis as the ultimate franchise cornerstone. The entire plan fell apart in spectacular fashion during a highly publicized media circus. Rich Paul made it clear that Boston was not a preferred destination. The player completely controlled his own narrative and forced his way to the West Coast. That rejection left a very sour taste in the mouths of many fans. Winning a championship shortly after that trade validated his decision at the time. But basketball is an incredibly unforgiving sport. The physical toll of playing dominant defense and carrying an offense caught up to him. The last few seasons have been a constant cycle of rehabilitation and disappointment. His mobility is not what it used to be. He struggles to defend the perimeter against smaller and faster players in the modern game. The idea of him anchoring a defense sounds great in theory, but the reality is that you must manage his minutes carefully. He cannot play heavy minutes during the regular season without risking a catastrophic injury. He must explore other avenues to fix their frontcourt issues. The draft and free agency offer safer alternatives. The quest for another banner requires calculated decisions, not desperate gambles on fading superstars.